Cola.
Oh, I was joking.
Oh, Joker Cola, you reckon?
There's no way.
Tell me we're recording that.
There is no way you.
Lucas, can you turn yourself down a little bit?
Actually, brother.
How about that?
Yeah, we look good.
That's in Greek. That's a dangerous mix.
In the city of LA. In the city of LA.
Hello and welcome to the D2 NBA podcast. 4-man weave plus Marco. I'm friend of the pod Les, here with Dante, Sean, Lucas, and Marco. How are we, fellas?
Good.
Yeah, good tidings to you all.
Wow.
Bad tidings.
You guys are all good?
The controversial.
Kings.
Controversial.
Kings and queens? Wow, that's really good that you guys are good. I've been a placement this week, and I thought I was having a really good week, and I had to facilitate a class yesterday. And as I was going around and like checking in on all the students, one student turned around and said to me, "Sir, you have the same body type as Shrek."
Oh.
You're right, I do feel bad.
Oh my god.
But can confirm to the listener, they all laughed. So thank you.
What did you say to these kids?
I in my head was like pissing myself. It was the funniest thing ever. It was so funny. But I was like, that's not a very nice thing to say. And her friend like punched her and was like, "You can't say that." And I was like, well, she did. So here we are.
Yeah, like I feel as a teenager. Well, I'm not a teenager. You might know that about me. But if anyone ever said that to me, I'd like, internalize and be like, yeah, I do look like Greg. But you can't do that as a teacher. Like,
No,
you
that's
got to
right.
set a good example
Yeah,
to
yeah.
these kids and all that. Yeah, I mean, they're going to Thornbury High, so they're already probably going to be drop kicks. But
It was not Thornbury High.
No.
It was not Thornbury High. So
Dude, read the fucking notes
Yeah.
before the episode.
Item 1.1.
the name of the school is redacted.
How old were these children?
14.
Dude, this
Damn.
fucking school.
Redacted.
Get that off your mind.
Redacted.
Well, we'll edit that
Small
out.
girl
Boys,
school.
won't you?
Yeah, niece Kylie.
Yeah. So anyway, who are the most watchable teams in the NBA?
Should try that again.
Yeah.
No. Well, we should probably start off the pod talking about a game that was near and dear to all of our hearts, which is the clash of the top of the West, the Golden State Warriors versus the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah, we should talk about
The first regular season matchup between these two teams. The second will be on Christmas Day. And Dante...
The second one's on Saturday.
Is it?
Yeah. We play in 2 days.
Are you
Or
serious?
3
They
days.
also play on Christmas.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, we played Detroit and then we got
Item one
Golden
dot.
State. The Golden State in San Francisco.
Item 1.12.
Read the fucking notes,
I
bro.
know. Jeepers. I've got to get that E off this episode. Well, so what do you can start since your team beat my team.
Yeah, and I'm feeling pretty good about it.
What you can just start.
This hasn't happened very much historically for me, so I'm kind of like soaking it all in whilst I still can. Pretty good game, but I was watching with my housemate, and there was like multiple occasions where there'd be a pretty hectic back and forth sequence of play. Both teams like making shots, some excellent D, and we'd just look at each other and be like, "This is what it's like when there's just two excellent teams playing." It kind of felt like almost like playoffsy in terms of like the execution level. You just would go like, with the exception of Golden State committing 23 turnovers, sometimes there were stretches of like 3-4 minutes where everyone was just flawless, and there was just like such good shot making over such good D, and like the ball movement was really crisp, and you got to see some really good players playing really well. Kevon Looney didn't keep up his hot form for the first 3 minutes or the rest of the game.
Yeah.
But it was a fun game, and I think it was a worthy display of the two best teams in the league playing each other. Like they both kind of lived up to that billing.
I think it's what you want when the two best teams in the league are playing each other, where like you didn't leave the game going like, oh, I know who's better.
Yeah.
You're like, there's still more of this duel to come.
Great point, Marco.
It's crazy that you guys get to play each other 4 times a season, and
Yeah.
me and
Seven
Lucas,
in the finals.
We've already had our 2 of the season. We can't discuss it anymore.
I was thinking recently, there's a good chance we won't play each other in 2022.
True.
Because it was so early in this season.
Yeah.
It'll probably be
You
late
think
next
they'll
season.
like backload it for the next season?
Unless we meet each other in the finals.
That is something we can all laugh at, isn't it? Anyway, back to Warriors Suns.
Well, it was it was a very Popovichian game by Steve Kerr 2.0, don't you reckon? Because like you see Greg Popovich in the regular season.
Who's Steve Kerr 2.0?
Is that Monty Williams?
Steve Kerr 2.0 is Steve Kerr of this season. Because he's
Wouldn't you just call him Steve Kerr?
Are you guys on Warriors Twitter? Like you've got this. Hang on, I've just got the tech guy coming around. just break up the flow of the episode.
The IT guy that comes into the classroom and everyone's like,
Richard Iowado.
He looks like Shrek.
Richard Iowado looks nothing like Shrek. So like you see with Greg Popovich when the Spurs were actually really good and competing for the finals. As soon as there was a marquee matchup, either the whole entire big three would just completely rest, or there'll just be some stupid variable. It's like, oh, Nando De Colo is going to play 30 minutes this game. Now, obviously, Andre Iguodala didn't play, and Andrew Wiggins was questionable heading into the game. So instead of just like getting rid of Iggy and keeping the rotation just a little bit shorter, he's like, oh, Chris Chiozza, 15 20 minutes. Maybe Chris Chiozza's the non-turnover dude who's just going to take care of the ball as soon as Steph or Jordan Poole step out of the game. He wasn't. And by the time we play each other in the playoffs, there's probably going to be very little to no Chris Chiozza action in this game. And I was just like, that's awesome that, you know, you've just got this trump card, which is not really a trump card. It's just not playing your fucking two-way player that isn't Gary Payton. Also, Gary Payton barely touched the court, which I thought was puzzling because he's been playing heaps against like traditional big men like Aiden and like doing a fine job, but he's out there to guard the guards, obviously. And he just wasn't doing it. And I'm like, well, that's
I
weird.
thought he was good though.
He
In
was.
that run at the end of the third or the start of the fourth, when Phoenix was up by like 10 or 12, and Golden State went on like like cut it to like 1 over the course of like 3 minutes. He had like a couple big dunks. Getting out in transition, I thought he was good. But you're right. Like Phoenix pretty much played like with the exception of Devin Booker, who played like 12 minutes before leaving with a hammy injury. We pretty much played all of our rotation. Like there was like everyone who was,
That's your hand.
yeah, everyone who was playing with the exception of Frank Kaminsky, God rest his soul. That was pretty much our rotation. Yeah. Which I don't feel like is a negative. I don't feel like I don't feel like the inverse of what you said affects us, where it's like we've showed our hand, because our team is just really good, and we might just be. You might know what we're going to do, and we might just be better. Maybe not necessarily against Golden State, but against another team, it's like we're not really hiding what we're trying to do. We're just really fucking good at it.
Yeah, and like, what is Phoenix's X factor? You know, everyone saw them in the finals, and you've added JaVale McGee, which was like the glaring hole in your team last season. So, I don't see how you're sort of revealing what you're doing to the league. I like the point though of like, you know, if you're gonna lose a regular season matchup against your potential conference finals opponents, you know, don't show everything. Like, if you're going to have injuries, then don't show everything.
If JTA is making heaps of turnovers, keep him in there, apparently.
Even Curry couldn't have played worse.
It was, I think some stats said it was the worst game of his whole entire career.
I
But
think it was his worst shooting performance in a game where he took 20 shots.
yeah.
Wow.
So like, well, he shot 3 from 14 from 3. And if the Kings shot that in half, I'd be like, "Wow, we made 3 threes." So,
Tuesday, mate. So you have yourself a day.
sorry, that's the one Kings reference for the episode. We're done. Thank you.
You mean you're not going to bring him up when you talk about watchable teams?
No siree.
Great game. I feel like in watching a lot of games in the early season, you watch the game and you're like, oh, cool, this team does this team does this. This team definitely is going to make the playoffs. This team I can see getting knocked out in the first round in a gentleman's sweep. And in this game, I was like, all right, end of the game, it's kind of close. Steph's going to win. And then I was like, oh, no, wait, Chris Paul's not just going to let him win. And like the Suns aren't just going to let him win. And yeah, the fucking dreadful shooting night definitely hurt. But I had so much fun watching this game. The Warriors were on track to go 74-8 if they kept up their 18-2 winning pace. But even with the 18-3, both of these teams are on track for 70, and I almost feel like they could both do it, which would be sick. Because it's like the Suns more so than the Warriors right now because of all the variables for the Warriors. They don't have Clay, number 77. The Suns are at full strength. Like even if they play Chris Paul and like they play their big three like 28 minutes, I don't trust the Wizards, who I would say like I know above average team. I wouldn't trust us to beat the Suns, even if they played 28 minutes each. And we're going to do our contenders, pretenders, identify each team.
Early plug, nice.
And the Suns and the Warriors really have set a benchmark that I feel like will leave me with less contenders this early into the season
Yeah.
than I had last season.
Especially in the West. Like,
Yeah.
the West just, I feel like there are 13 teams in the West not really living up to their name at the
Yeah.
moment. And then there's 2 who are like just completely surpassing it. And that was the thing. I think like perhaps not in this Warriors game in particular, but like every player on those 2 teams is maxing, like they're nearing their ceiling in terms of their skill level, you know, whether it is Steph Curry or Juan Toscano Anderson, like both ends of the spectrum are playing their absolute best basketball for both teams.
Yeah, and like I love the fact that we lost this game because, like, you know, if you keep going on this, it's like the Warriors might just stumble their way into like nearly 70 win pace, and I don't want them to win 70 games again because like they've already done that. They're exhausted.
Oh god. Oh god.
That is actually just. Tell you what, the rich get richer. The rich really do get richer.
Genuinely. On that note, I remember when the Knicks and the Heat were going on winning streaks in the 2012 range. We were at high school. We were at high school. We were in high school even. And
We were also at high school.
Yeah,
We
true.
were there.
We definitely discussed it at high school. I just remember the NBA world being like, holy shit, look how many wins these teams have. I'm definitely on the internet, or the NBA internet, less than you guys are. But I feel like Phoenix isn't getting that shout. And like, obviously it was like the Melo Knicks and the LeBron Wade Bosch Heat. And so I get that there's obviously a little bit more to plug. But like 17 straight wins is cooked. Like it's,
Yeah,
it's
super.
actually crazy.
It's almost a quarter of the season.
Yeah. It's genuinely bonkers. And so it's like, yeah, I mean, I get the star power thing, but Chris Paul's pretty effing big as a player. The NBA is really trying to sell Booker. Like, there was an ESPN tab, like, the clicker, the ticker on the bottom.
The bottom ticker.
The bottom ticker, right? Yeah.
No change.
It was Booker v the other player, despite
Yeah.
Chris Paul. So like, they're really trying to push the Devin Booker thing.
Yeah.
And yet they win 17 games, and it's like, yeah, the Suns are pretty good. It's like, what do you mean
Yeah.
the Suns are pretty good?
Yeah. And to do it with this whole Sava thing going on in the background as well.
Quite genuinely though.
Talk about the rich get richer.
Yeah, genuinely. No, but I mean, like, it could potentially have been like a derailing, have a derailing impact on the team. But I guess that's just a credit to Monty, you know.
And CP3.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, well, and you know, and CP3, and I think to a lesser extent Book as well, because he has developed into like a genuine leader as well. But to be able to compartmentalize and just kind of like get on with business and, you know, perform to such a high level is pretty big. I think like you're so right though, comparing it to like the Heat though. I think the Heat ended up winning they won like 26.
It was 27. I think.
Yeah.
And they were talking about like, are they gonna get the Lakers record of 33 in a row? Like, is it in sight? So like, you know, obviously Phoenix has a while to go before that's the territory.
Over
But
halfway.
17 has to be like the longest streak in the last like 4 or 5 years.
It's the longest streak for the Phoenix Suns, but it's not in the last 4 or 5 years because the Warriors had 28 and 1, or 24 and 1.
24, that's crazy.
Remember when they won 73 games?
Yeah,
I just trended out.
They lost to the Greg Monroe game.
On the second half of back-to-back after a 2 overtime game loss to the Boston Celtics.
And did they win or lose that game?
Against
That's all the fucking matters. I agree with you, Aless. I really don't like the Booker versus thing. It's like, do you not know CP3 is on this team? Like, this guy goes to every team and makes them significantly better. Please give the man his flowers.
Yeah.
Give the
and
old man his flowers.
Going back to like, give Monty credit, give Booker credit, give Paul credit. Aiden would hate Sava. Hate him. Literally, he would be like, you are the worst like person on the whole planet. Where's the bag? Rah rah rah. And he could well and truly derail this season by just like not showing up. And they've won 17 games with him in the lineup.
And he's
So
playing
he's
well.
playing,
Yeah.
right? So like, full credit.
But I don't know. I've always found that a bit perplexing because I don't think that anyone really knows enough about, or at least in the national NBA cognoscenti. They don't know enough. They don't know enough about who he is as an actual person to kind of be like. He's given no indication that he's like a hothead, like thinks he should be like the star big man. Other than he played on a shit team his first season and just shot heaps of fucking elbow jumpers. And then, you know, when Chris Paul came, it was like an adjustment for him to stop shooting elbow jumpers, and everyone has kind of run with the narrative of like, oh, this guy wants to have a bigger role in the team, and they've really had to get him to buy into the system. And it's like, they could actually just be like, hey, you're really fucking good at like rim running and defending. And he's like, yeah, I'll do it. I'm happy to. So I don't know if he's this like, you know, potential like
Toxic.
you know, maelstrom, like toxic, like could derail the whole team. But yeah, like he's not.
Yeah.
And the cohesion seems through the roof, which has not always been the case with this Paul team. So it's definitely kind of like an enjoy it whilst it lasts. It's like when Jose Mourinho comes to your club, you're like, all right, we got two, maybe 2.5 years before it all turns to shit. So I'm just enjoying it whilst it lasts.
And even then, what's the chance you win a cup with Mourinho?
Well, with Mourinho, pretty
Who
good.
the fuck's that? What's Jose Mourinho do?
He just fucking wins, bro. He just fucking wins.
That's true.
He's like a soccer player or something.
Anyway, so Watford Chelsea.
I believe they call it football. That would be a great segue, but we're not actually talking about that. One final thing I wanted to say is, anyone else want to add something after this? Like, Aiden obviously did a great job in this game, and one of the things that the Warriors struggle against is skilled big men. And when Draymond Green's fully locked in and his back isn't questionable heading into the game, then he can do a great job. But, like, with the fucking Kevon Looney minutes, like, Ayton was just winning those, and so he should, because Kevon Looney's not very good at basketball. Like, Kevon Looney will get you 18 and 14 against the Timberwolves, but he's not doing that against a playoff team. Do you guys think, like, the Warriors need to fix this, wait for Wiseman, or it's not going to matter because as soon as it matters, you've got Iggy at the 4 and Draymond at the 5?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, the latter.
Yeah, doesn't matter. Yeah, I think the very small holes that will eventuate from what you're talking about should be papered up by Wiseman. Like any sort of quality of Wiseman, whether he is like an elite player or whether he is just like a
bigger body.
A big body, like a body on the floor. A situational footer, if you will.
Well, he can't be worse than Looney.
He was last year.
Yeah, he can. He definitely can.
No, okay, well, he could. If he's worse than Looney, then it's just like fire everyone. Throw out the championships.
Genuinely.
Pull the banners
Genuinely,
down.
legit.
Fucking get rid of him.
Light years ahead.
You heard of this LaMelo bloke?
Yeah.
Mate.
7, mate.
Genuinely.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
We have lost a member.
Yeah, God, we lost the host. The hostess with the mostest.
I was the host.
Oh, true. What do you want to talk about next? Watford Chelsea?
Watford Chelsea. I can kick off the next one.
Just for the listeners, we'll just mention it because I don't know what the hell I'm talking about with soccer, but I go for Watford, Dante goes for Chelsea, obviously Golden State and Phoenix played on the exact same week, and I lost twice.
Do they have the same colours, those two teams, those 4 teams?
No.
Not even
Nah.
close.
Fuck Lucas.
Let's stop talking about soccer then.
Although Suns and Watford do wear yellow.
Chelsea-
not Suns. Warriors.
Chelsea have a controversial owner as well, I would say.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. If you like Russian oligarchs and oil monarchies, have I got the billionaire for you?
Yeah. And if not, come over to Newcastle.
Yeah.
So we were going to talk about the most watchable teams. We're going to try and compile a list of the 5 most watchable teams in the NBA. So we've all done our homework. I have 5 for us, and I believe firmly that 3 are non-negotiable. Like they have to be on the final list.
Yeah.
Warriors.
I was going to say, do you
Well,
want
should we talk a little? Do you want to talk a little bit about how we're going about these ratings
Okay, go for it.
and what the end goal of this discussion is?
Well, as I understand it, we're going to round table it and we're going to communally build this list together and at the end hopefully have compiled, using all of our veritable basketball knowledge, the 5 most watchable teams. But have I done a good job of explaining
Great
it?
job.
Yeah. I don't think you guys have understood the concept of non-negotiable though. These have to be on the list.
All right. What are the 3?
Warriors, Suns, Bulls.
Ooh.
Bulls is definitely negotiable.
That's
Yeah.
negotiable.
That's
No way.
definitely-
Watchability.
yeah,
yeah.
in terms of like
Crazy.
watching them, yeah.
You guys are crazy.
I've got Warriors Suns as well.
I got Warriors Suns.
Yeah.
Should we?
I also have
No one else. Hold on. No one else has the Bulls in their 5.
I've actually
I'm
only watched one game this year.
I'm stunned.
One game of basketball.
Yeah, it was yesterday. So that's why I've got Warriors Suns.
Oh my gosh, I'm shocked.
I also
Play on,
I also
play
had the Bulls.
Between the Patty Williams rookie card and the DeMar DeRozan collection of NFTs, surely you guys have watched every Bulls game.
Yeah, and then Marco's like hanging for Lonzo Ball to come back. So, you know,
He's got Devontae
Thanks,
Graham back. He's a game winner.
yeah, amen, brother. J-Val.
I actually can't like think of a Lonzo game winner in my head. So
Fair play. Fair play.
all right, well let's talk about the Bulls. Why are they a must-watch team for you guys?
Because they score heaps of points. They let the other team score heaps of points. They play 4 guards or 2 guards do the same thing, and then the other 2 guards do the same. So, like, Lonzo and Caruso are both, like, passers and defenders, and then Levine and DeRozan are just scorers. DeRozan's playing that, like, semi-de facto point guard role from the 4. And then, like, they have no big men. No one's good.
Excuse me?
Tony Bradley? So
Yeah, Tony Bradley.
Nikola Vucevic?
I know we like Tony Bradley.
Yeah, what about Vooch?
He's been out.
He's literally back.
Okay. Well, he's back now. He's been out for a little bit.
Literally, he's back.
Vooch can't stop anything, and neither can DeRozan. Levine's been better. Lonzo's been incredible, and so has Caruso defensively, both of them.
Caruso's been good offensively as well.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
They both have. Lonzo's hitting threes.
Fucking get around a Caruso post up. Caruso's got a bit of James Green. A bit of Draymond Green
Draymond Green.
going about, and where they'll just post him up like in the mid range, exclusively just to run cutters off him, and they just trust he's going to make a good pass.
This is a bit of a side note, but you know who could really use Alex Caruso? The Lakers. Man,
And to go to my next team on the watchability.
absolutely not. I was gonna put them on as a meme pick, but like I don't even take joy in how bad they are because they're so bad.
Yeah.
To go back to the Bulls and Caruso is looking yoked this year.
yeah.
I remember him being a bit gangly and awkward. Now I'm like, damn, you're kind of fine actually, Alex.
Deep dish Chicago pizza. You know he's friends with Andrew.
Your bicep.
He's friends with Andrew Santino now.
Yeah, you've told me this.
Oh, Scratch it.
Who's Andrew Santino?
He's one half of my favorite podcast, Bad Friends. Yeah, if you're listening to this plugged up Bad Friends podcast. Yeah, Bobby Lee, Andrew Santino, funny guys.
Is Andrew Santino a Chicagoan? Is that
Yeah.
And is that the term for someone from Chicago? Dante?
I fucking
No, Dante
reckon.
lived in Perth.
Perthite.
That's south of
I
Chicago.
think it's Perthling.
Oh, you know when there's a cool breeze in Chicago, they call it the Illinois Doctor. Have you guys heard that before?
The Fremantle Doctor.
Did you ever live there?
No, all my family is from there though.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I like mullet flapper. That was funny.
But like, yeah, that's crazy. I guess you would know then, wouldn't you? Have you been to Rottnest Island?
Yeah, I have.
They're just
When I
rats,
was a
aren't
kid.
they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they actually are literally just rats.
For Will Conquer's
and they're,
listening, we're talking about
Yeah.
The Chicago Bulls.
what are they called?
They're rats.
Quackers.
The
Quackers.
smile that they do is literally just you got to get the right angle on the selfie because it's just their mouth. And in any other way, you're just like that's a rodent. And they just fucking it's
just like the first
it's
one.
not a great comment on like how clean like the central part of Rotto gets kept. That this is true, but they literally just fucking walk around like eating like out of chip packets and stuff. And you're like, this is not like the idyllic paradise that I signed up for. Like this fucking rat is just going to town on some salt and vinegar.
Do they have spiked outsides?
thinking of an echidna?
I am thinking of an
Maybe
echidna.
like a porcupine.
Do they have like a porcupine or echidna-esque?
No, they look like a rat.
Oh no shit! That's why he was saying that.
Hey, Polly, get up a picture of a quokka.
Now imagine that thing on roids. We've never seen one work out. No, there's
No one's gonna make a pull that shit up, Jamie comment.
Yeah, no, I've seen a squawker
You just
before.
did, didn't you? A what? A squatter?
I said I
I
meant
just
to
called
say
him Paulie instead of Jamie.
No, okay.
Should we try and pull this back?
That's the Bulls.
So
else make the team. Someone
let's
else make
I have more to say about the Bulls because I have the Bulls on my list as well. I don't think that they're
Thank God.
I don't think they're non-negotiable, but they're definitely on my list because it's literally we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. They're the closest thing that the league has to Showtime at the moment because it's literally just fucking threes, dunks, and like pure ISO scoring with DeRozan and Levine, who both just like have that kind of like. You watch them just like size someone up on the wing three, and it's like, yeah, I feel good about this. And I think that they're just bad enough defensively that there's like you said, there's the other team scores heaps of points, which means there's heaps of chaos and there's lots of shots. And if the other team's shooting a lot, maybe there's more rebounds, maybe they run more. And like they've got like fucking Caruso is like so good to watch on D. Lonzo's been like a genuine all defensive shout through the first quarter of the season. And then on offense, they're just like bang threes. Everyone's shooting threes. Lonzo, 44%. Don't tell me from last year.
I did. I told you last year.
Speaking of that Lonzo Caruso backcourt, I've never seen them sprint to get an interception either. I feel like they're always just so many steps ahead. They're like, all right, if I just start walking in this lane at this speed at this time, I will get the steal.
I'm gonna get there. Yeah.
And then whichever one of them, either Lonzo doesn't pass it to Lonzo because he already has the ball, or Caruso finds Lonzo, and then he just gets a dime every single time. And I would say, not trying to be like a fucking old head or anything, but watching Lonzo and Caruso's D is probably the most watchable thing for me with the Bulls.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, is it's watchable in the sense that there's lots of scoring. It's very fun. But there's not much variety, you know? And I think apart from those two guys who are like very good defenders, like you have to think about it. If you're watching the Bulls, if you're watching a Bulls v someone game, when it's going in the other direction, are you marveling at the other team's offense? No, you want to be marveling at the Bulls defense. Like that's what should make them watchable as well. And that's where I think it kind of falls apart a bit. You're like, oh God, this, like they could lose this game because they're just completely falling apart. Like, you know, if their shots aren't hitting at the other end and they're not defending the other team well, which, you know, obviously, well, what's their record? Like 11-8, something like that.
They're the 4 seed.
I think it would be. I think it'd be a little bit more wins and a little bit less losses.
You know,
And the defensive rating is
Eloquence.
higher than what it was supposed to be. I think they're defending much better than it was
I think you're
supposed
right though.
Yeah.
You saw that against a team that I'm sure will come up later in this discussion, the Indiana Pacers, where they got blown out. They lost by like 35 to the Pacers because they played shit D and they didn't hit any shots, and it was like 109-72 or something.
that might be like, I mean, if they're one of your non-negotiables, that might be a top 3 most watchable against top 3 least watchable.
They said Pacers, not Pistons.
Well,
Although Isaiah Stewart's pretty watchable.
he's pretty punchable.
3 weeks.
Game's gone.
How about we put the Bulls to the side for now and say if we can't agree on stuff, because I also agree with everything you're saying. Let's put them at 6 right now and then move on.
That's
to
exactly where I had
them.
them.
So we got Warriors. You got them at 6 as well. So we got Warriors and Suns.
Yep.
A team I wanted to mention, which I think you all would have, is Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah.
Top 6.
I'm just looking at your notes. I can't actually believe my eyes seeing one of the teams that you put on there. I literally can't believe it. We'll get to it later.
Oh my God, he did put the Pistons.
No, I've got Charlotte as well.
You got Mello, the commentator, Miles Bridges.
Yeah. Well, literally, like, you know, we've pissed all over the Instagram, like NBA Instagram coverage of Miles Bridges and the Mellow Ball, but that's literally 75% of why I've got them on the watchability. So I want to issue we're all about accountability at the Deep too, so I want to issue a formal apology to NBA Instagram. I apologize.
Credit to him.
I apologize.
Credit to them.
You were right.
That trending NBA guy. Right.
2 years ago when you started posting like, you know, like a LaMelo to Miles Bridges oop, you were right, I was wrong.
I think LaMelo definitely has a case for most fun player to watch in the league.
Yeah.
But I do also want to pencil that in just so we can rub it out later. I don't want to pen that in just yet. But the Hornets play a lot of zone, and I really don't like watching games when zone's getting played. Mainly because it reminds me of playing open age, and it's like, fucking get out of the zone. Like, just play us one-on-one so we can get more shots up and just all of us start running more.
Yeah.
And Miles Bridges, I feel like has all these 30-point games, but when I'm not watching. And it's like, has it actually ever happened? Has anyone ever watched one of these games live? But yeah, watching them against the Wizards, they beat us both times. Yeah, they beat us both times, and they just have our number for sure.
Well, you're both competing for the same spots as well, like 4 or 5 seed in the
6 probably for us.
You're
Like, let's be real.
You're such a negative Nancy.
Nah.
Man. I've been
No, I
hyping
think
you
he's-
up all season, and you're like, no, playing. Hey, how's our lottery pick looking?
I never once said that.
Lucas was being optimistic.
He's been cautiously optimistic.
I get that from Dante's mouth.
I remember you saying on the JVG show that you were forecasting the Wizards games, and it did involve like the Charlotte game and the Blues, but you were like, if we can get to 15-5, I feel like we'll make the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's optimism.
Yeah, and we got to 13-7, which is what I predicted. Johnny Martinez.
Just quietly.
Yeah, but I think Charlotte would be a lock if they just fixed their centre spot, because they just sort of cheaped out and were like, all right, second round pick for Mason Plumlee, done. Like we don't need to do anything else. It's like your mate Montrezl Harrell was there. He would have been awesome on this team. Just like another team like the Wizards that is like, it doesn't actually matter about the playoff matchup, just win the games. And like Daniel Gafford was going for peanuts last season. He would be perfect there. No, maybe don't throw the money at Jared Allen, but someone like that.
They almost paid Holmes.
Yeah. That would have been like, it's like, fuck, Mason Plumlee. It's like, yeah, it's like watching Open Age.
Well, we gave him 455. Like, they couldn't have given him 460.
Yeah.
Well, and that looks fucking incredible.
Absolutely. 460 for him playing on Charlotte.
Has
He'd be
he-
so much better on Charlotte.
Has he been the best Kings player this year? Would you say?
Barnes has been.
Barnes.
But Barnes is hurt, so yeah, now it's...
I'm wearing the jersey.
Yes. Hell yeah.
Well, what do you reckon, Marco, about Charlotte?
The same problem I have with Chicago. Like, LaMelo is the funnest player to watch on offense, and I want to, like, fucking Oedipus my eyes out when he's defending.
Oh my god.
You know when he just loses his man entirely, and his
Yeah.
like back is turned to him somehow, and it's
Yeah.
like, fucking God.
The team's playing man and the Melo's playing zone.
I was about to say, LaMelo's the reason that we play zone in Open Age. Like, as someone who has the same body type as Shrek, we have to play zone on a Wednesday night. If not, I'm getting my back turned. There was a
But we did some fucking work on Wednesday.
Yeah,
Changing
well.
up the zone.
Oh yeah, brother. 2-1-2.
2-1-2.
Still
Just
lost.
get in their heads, you know.
Yeah. But no, absolutely, he is a literal turd on defense.
Yeah. And I'm not gonna go too hard at them, because I do like watching. Like, if there's a Hornets game on, I'm gonna switch it on. I think that's at the end of the day what this exercise is about. But fuck, man, like, in a playoff series, that team isn't going anywhere. They're just gonna target the variety of bad defenders all day long, like any capable team will. But you know, regular season award, right?
Yeah. Also,
Most watchable.
Also, they didn't sign Miles Bridges to a contract. So if they'd gone out and got Rashawn Holmes, for example, they could have had him. And now they're going to have to pay Miles Bridges more than what they maybe could have agreed to this past off season. It's going to be a lot harder to fix the centre
He's going
spot.
to end up averaging 20 plus.
It's probably going to be a
He was
max.
averaging like 11 last year.
Well, like Memphis will throw a max at him this off season.
Yeah, I've been hearing my ear to the ground, my sources. Lots of Memphis buzz.
He'd be on a grit and grind train easy.
Yeah, definitely.
He'd fit that mold.
Definitely. My source is just John Hollinger, so
Yeah.
anyway.
My
He's
guy.
been fucking on
My
it.
source is the JVG and Attribution.
Welcome, please.
Who else has a team though? So we're putting them at 6. We'll put them at 6 as well.
That's not
Let's
six.
let them balls tight. T6. They
Tied
got
6th.
Well, should we hammer out what I think will be another short pick, or should we go a bit left field? What do you reckon?
I've saved my left field pick, so you do yours now.
I'm doing my left field picks now. Well, I don't know. I've been really enjoying watching the Oklahoma City Thunder this season, and I think
Two left field. Maybe.
Next.
I think purely from a like, all right, let's go watch Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Josh Giddey, Lou Dort, just play basketball, have fun. There's no onus on them to win games at all. You know that they're going to give any team they play a hard time until maybe halfway through the third quarter, when they're like, all right, we better stop giving them a hard time. So it's not like good teams like rock up and are like, oh, cool, this is an easy win for us, even though they, you know, have one of the worst records in the league. And yeah, like that backcourt is just so much fun to watch. I think they're two. We all know Shea is like an all-star in the making as soon as they can get enough assets to do whatever, if not like a superstar. Josh Giddey, I was completely out of him, like without knowing almost anything about him at the draft. And just every time I watch him, like as long as he's not taking a shot, he's so much fun to watch. He just moves at this like incredible speed. He does that like Chris Paul thing where he kind of like stops, you know, looks around and then just makes the best decision he could possibly make, whether it's, you know, a pass or a shot or a drive to the bucket. And yeah, I think, you know, a team that doesn't have an onus on them to win can just have fun, improve. You know, they don't have to sort of grind out a system to win games, and yeah, it's enjoyable. It's watchable, if you will.
Anyone else got a team?
Yeah. So the Bulls and the Hornets aren't allowed to be bad on defense because they're trying to win, but the Thunder are allowed to be
Yes,
bad. Okay.
exactly.
Cool.
And
Right.
they're also,
Making sure I've got the criteria set.
and they're also allowed to do bad on offense as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Also-
I see that my arguments are
There's a
falling
flaw.
apart. Yeah.
They've also played the Rockets like 3 times so far. Which, like,
That's true.
anyone who plays the Rockets 3 times should probably be on this list. Because you've probably put up 150 about 3 times. But
And they beat the Kings.
Josh Giddey, for such a responsible player, cerebral, if you will, on the court. Have you seen him on TikTok?
Oh man.
He just goes on live and he just sits there. He's like, "What's going on? I remember to add me on Snapchat at Josh Giddey. Yeah, basketball's pretty cool." And he just sits there.
He's got that accent too.
Don't meet your heroes.
Did they teach that at St. Kevin's?
Yeah, to TikTok live.
Yeah.
Is it, well, I
I
don't.
heard they taught other things at St.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I did teach some other things.
I don't think OKC should be on there. Is anyone else?
Yeah,
Gonna
You
scratch that
told me
one.
to throw out a left field one.
You should. They're too left field, mate.
Go to me.
Give us a team.
Give us a team. I'm really scared to suggest some of mine now.
So they're gonna get shot down.
The sacrificial lamb.
Well, it can't be worse than OKC. I'm just being recalcitrant.
Oh, that's one. That's one.
What did you say I was before about the Wizards?
Recalcitrant.
Cautiously optimistic.
Yeah.
What's Raquel? What?
Oh, it's just a word me Dante and Marco know.
Yeah, no.
It means that you get drink a lot of milk, so your calcium.
I'm gonna slap the Wizards on the table, and I think this is probably coming from a
Homer?
no, well, maybe inadvertently, but having gone through the last 4 years, I'm so excited to watch every single game because most of the last 4 years I've been like, oh yeah, Wizards got another game today. You're gonna have to watch this for the next 2.5 hours. I'm sure. And I am looking at you directly, ULS.
I stopped watching.
Every time the Wizards play, I'm like, shit, yeah, we might actually win this game. And even if we don't, there might be some promising shit. Start of the season, everyone was playing so well. Dinwiddie's kind of dropped a little, but then for some reason, KCP is like the second best shooting guard in the league right now. Montrez had 27 points on 12 shot attempts today. And I hope we re-sign him. Give him the Bertans deal, plus 10 mil a year. And yeah, Bertans hasn't even started shooting like a basketball player or like a 3-point shooter. But every single game, I just like love watching this team. And there's so many different things to like watching them. Yeah, so that
I think the Wizards are a lock. Like they're one of my top 5 because
A
at
lock?
the start of the year I was like, yeah, Wizards, let's go. I love watching Montrez on a team. This isn't my actual list. You don't have to look at it. They're just some talking points.
Nothing about the Thunder.
I literally don't even know what you're talking about.
So like at the start with the Wiz, like I love watching Montrez on a team that like you don't have to worry about the playoff matchups because he is so much fun to watch and he's trying so hard. It's awesome. Gaff, same deal. Love watching him, and obviously we've got a bit of a vested interest in him because of the personal connection to his girlfriend D-Mog. And then like I was a bit disappointed with Beal at the start of this year and last year, and then I saw someone tweet it and I was just like, fuck, I'm looking at him the wrong way because it's like he's not the Beal in Florida that's just like putting up heaps of threes and is great on 2K. This is the Beal that operates in the pick and roll and he makes the right pass and he uses his gravity off ball and on ball to like get guys open. And it's like, when did he like mature up so much and be like this really cool dude that just defers to like KCP and Cole Kuzma is a good basketball
Oh my
player.
god. Beal, you know it's his 10th season, Beal.
Yeah.
That's crazy to think about.
Yeah.
And yeah, he has just been he's been like a vet and such a better playmaker this year. And I can't believe how many open shots he's missed this year.
Yeah.
Like, I don't mind him missing the contested ones. He actually kind of usually hits those ones. But once the open ones start dropping, he should be closer to 30.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
I'll tell you what would put the Wiz above Chicago or the Hornets for me is that when they go to the bench, I'm like excited for those players to come on. I feel like Chicago particularly is like cool. There's like 5, maybe 6 basketball players who are really, really interesting to watch. The Wizards, like Beal is like the 9th most interesting player on that team at the moment.
Yeah.
Not like in a long-term sense, but in a, wow, I can't believe Kyle Kuzma is playing like this. Wow, I can't believe Trez is like playing his best basketball ever, basically. That for me, I think it's like where the Wizards really have that X factor, that differing factor. It's like, oh, you have such a deep, talented roster. You've focused on having talent all across the board, not just like on your 4 best players. Which, I mean, let's look at the way Chicago built that squad. It was like, cool, we'll bring in 3 All-Stars and like Lonzo Ball and Alex Caruso, and that's the whole mid-season trades and off-season that all happened in one go. And instead, the Wizards have just brought in courtesy of the Westbrook trade, they have such a depth of talent, and yeah, it just makes them so much fun to watch.
See, I disagree with you. I agree with you on I agree with you on that point with Charlotte, because Charlotte's bench players come in and you're like, who the fuck is this?
Ishmael.
Nick Richards.
Genuinely.
The other Martin twin.
Yeah, the other Martin twin. Like, you're like, what? Excuse me? But I disagree with you on the Bulls, because I think the Bulls bench is really, really fun in their own way. And a lot of the dudes on the Bulls bench are like a lot less heralded than the guys on the Wizards bench, because obviously like we've seen Kuzma, we've seen Harold, like these are guys who everyone knows. But the Bulls will just like sub everyone out, and their bench unit is pretty much like DeRozan playing the 4 with Tony Bradley. He's been really bad. And then they'll just play like they'll be like Javonte Green, Caruso's there. They got Ayo Dosunmu. Just these like athletic dudes, like pretty much can't shoot, but they just fucking run. And then in the half court, it's just DeRozan just like playing point forward, which I think is really cool. And then you just get like, again, I think the bench guys exhibit the same traits that make me love the starters, because it's just like some great individual defenders who are just like getting up in people, forcing turnovers, and then you're just like, just doing crazy dunks. Like Javonte Green dunking on the fast break is like watchable.
And Derek Jones Jr. as well.
Yeah, Derek Jones Jr. as well. Actually, airplane mode, bro.
So do you guys think the Wizards are a lock?
I would put the Wizards. I put the Wizards T6.
they were my asterisk 6, because when you hear my asterisk 5, you'll figure out why. The Wizards never have a bad player on the floor ever.
Corey Kispert?
Oh, I fucking love that.
They never.
I hate how much I like Corey Kispert. He signed him as a 3-point shooter, and I think he's like 5 of 30 on the season, and he's also like 2 after the whistle's blown. 2 of 2 after the whistle's blown. And this guy, I can't believe how many cuts he gets. Like how many open layups he gets from cuts.
Doug McDermott.
Yeah, for real though. And to start the season, I low-key reckon Montrez hated passing to the white players, but he started passing to Corey heaps more. Yeah. Unless I want to hear your
that was it. When Marco did his whole speech just then, I was like, yep, that's exactly what was in my head. So all I had to follow on from Marco is they literally never have a bad basketball player on the floor. Yeah, everyone's good.
Yeah, and Brad Beal was recently on the Wizards. Chris Miller, who was like the sideline commentator, does a pod, and he asked him what the difference was this year, and Brad was like, we don't have any bad apples. I'll be honest, we had like 2 or 3 bad apples every single other season I've been in Washington. Yeah. So yeah, that's been a troubling but good to see.
John and Wall.
Yeah, John, Russ, whatever. Yeah.
And Thomas Bryant and Rui Hachimura haven't come back. And
Rui was courtside today.
Yeah. Good on him.
That's not on the court.
And like we've spoken about this on our pod, but one of these players is going to have to go before the deadline. But like whatever, it doesn't matter. Nothing could come back, and you'd still have 11 interesting players on your roster.
Yeah.
So are we outnumbering you guys? 3-5, 3-2. Putting them on the 5.
Well, I think it's. Is it not 4-1? I thought Les was in on it as well.
Who's the one? You?
Me.
Damn, that's tough. For real.
Damn. No, I'll cop it.
Let's keep like Wizards, Bulls, Hornets. Hornets are in the 7th spot currently.
Yeah, no,
5, 6, 7.
I think the case for the Wizards is stronger than the case for the Hornets.
Yeah.
I do think that.
Do you want to bring your name to the table, Dante?
Well, I actually only had 4 names to bring to the table because Alessa said we've all done our homework, and I was like, ooh. And all of my 4 names have already been talked about, so I might actually hot potato it to someone else. Do you want to give your?
So my asterisk. This is why I believe the Wizards will get in. Is the Grizzlies with Morant?
Yeah, I back that.
So they were just so sick for the first 12 games ish. 13, 14, how many games in the season are we? 20-ish, yeah. So for the first 15 games, they were just absolutely unreal. Desmond Bain was popping off. Jaren Jackson didn't need to perform because Morant was literally carrying
And he
them.
didn't.
Yeah, and he didn't. Hey, sorry, fantasy owners. Morant was literally incredible. But now that he's down and could be out for a significant amount of time, does anyone know what the injury is?
Sprained knee, 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay, all right. So it's not. So yeah, all right.
But
That's
like-
not-
When I did my knee, it was a bit different.
But like he sprained one of his ligaments, so it's just like a little bit before tearing something horrible.
yeah. So it's like, I don't know if we can put him in the if we're doing the watchability for the first 20, I guess I would put them in front of the Wizards. But now that he's gone and you're sort of like pushing it out to the rest of the season, that's why there's that asterisk where I would put the Wizards in. So
I would disagree even with him in before the Wizards, because like he's easily been the funnest player to watch in the league individually, but even early in the season there were times when he was on the bench where I was like, I don't want to be watching these guys play.
definitely.
And I don't think any of the teams we've spoken about have had that problem when their best player goes to the bench. Like, we know what it's been like for the Warriors when Steph sits at the beginning of the fourth now,
When does he come back in?
No, they changed that.
Yeah, they actually did.
They changed that
actually
last
did.
week. Steph doesn't like the fact that they changed that, but Steve Kerr 2.0 put his foot down and said,
It's a very Mourinho move, actually.
Oh my god, Shades of Jose all over this shit.
the reinvigorated Steve.
the argument is totally for Durant, which is why I
Durant?
think.
Morant.
Speaking of Durant, though, those nets are pretty watchable.
You reckon?
No.
Oh, dude, if Harden keeps fucking around like he did against the Knicks,
Yeah, well,
If they keep playing power forwards,
if Harden gives me more than 2 good games in fantasy, I'll be happy. But until then, whatever.
yeah.
Well, I think I've been swayed to the Wizards because if it's a Morant v 11 player argument, I think you have to go for the 11, right?
No, I agree with Marco's point there. No, seriously, let's chuck the Wizard because without Jar, it's just like,
I forgot why I stopped watching the Grizzlies, and now you saying that Jar is out. I realised why I stopped watching.
Yeah.
Can I just make a quick digression here and talk about complete opposite of watchability, but statistics? This James Harden fellow is having a very similar season to Russell Westbrook statistically.
Wow.
They're having, I mean, his 3-point shooting is a little bit better, as you can imagine, but only a little bit. But like similar turnovers, similar drop in points, similar assists, similar rebounds, similar hard to watch as well, I think.
Yeah.
But Harden's played one game this season.
Yeah.
Whereas
Westbrook's been trying the whole
Trying
time.
to
Yeah. That also shows the difference between Durant and then like the Davis LeBron hybrid, whoever's been healthy on the day. Durant is the number 1 seed in the East, and the LeBron Davis injury hybrid, whoever's on, they're good for what, 10 and 11 currently? 11 and 11?
Anthony Davis
they're
also
shit.
having a
It's-
cosmically bad season.
Yeah. So it's like if Westbrook and Harden are both write-offs, the difference between what Durant currently is and what either LeBron or Davis is, or both.
But Davis is injured.
Always.
But Harden showed he
Right
can
eye
just
socket.
rock up and win a game. Like that, he decided to do that against New York.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I look at his season as like, oh, he just like hasn't decided to turn it on yet. Like I think there
he's been
is
shit.
genuinely a huge element of him being like out of shape and like out of form. And there's been glimmers of that where he's like the James Harden of like even a year ago, of the last like 10 years. But I think it's more to it than just he like hasn't decided that he's going to rock up, which is concerning, I think, especially because he's someone who in the playoffs last year did his best Michael Porter Jr. Just being like, anyway, I'm going to stay here. I'm going to stand in this spot. If it's within my reach, my wingspan, I'll put my arms out, but otherwise,
I
fuck
think
it,
that was
someone else's problem.
that was a genuine hammy injury. Though.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying though. Like,
Yeah.
like
Bud's still
Porter
coached-
Jr.
still with him.
Porter Jr. was a genuine back injury. That's why I
Yeah,
couldn't do
yeah,
it. I'm just
No,
saying, like,
no. I half agree with you, but that game where CP3 hit like 8 middies from the same exact spot.
Yeah.
Which game?
MP
There was a couple.
It was in Denver. MPJ was getting screened, and then like instead of like going over the screen or anything, he was like hedging towards the half court and then giving the Suns a 5 versus 4.
Yeah.
Like I've never seen someone so obviously not want to defend and just
Yeah.
hand them the game.
I just mean though, in terms of the comparison, they're like it's an injury that has serious ramifications in terms of how they played on the court, in that they were both basically immobile. And Harden came back and looking, you know, like out of shape and sluggish and slow start makes me worried, because what if that happens again? Because
Yeah.
you're less likely to, you're less likely to do that, to have an injury like that recurs if you're like in peak physical shape. But he's not, and he's still playing 30 plus minutes a game. I also, I've got my negative Nancy hat on because I just don't like him. So
I think there's also like a major aspect of ref ball with him. He doesn't want to drive anymore.
Well, yeah, and he's not getting the call.
And he's not,
because
well,
usually he'd grab
hence the non-driving. So
Yeah.
it's like, all right, your one thing is drive, and then when the drive's open, you get the open threes, hence 30 points, 10 assists, right? Lock it in,
yeah.
don't worry about it. You don't do the driving, you don't get the threes, then you add the hammy, and it's just like, it's all falling apart. And turns out Westbrook's just shit.
He took 10 free throws yesterday, Harden.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I
double
think
digits.
His averages are the same, but I don't think I didn't want to bring that up because I think it goes against how it feels to watch him play.
Yeah, but I think that I personally think Harden just hasn't like decided that he wants to fully be a part of the team. But I think that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think everyone should think that's a bad thing, but not because it's like the injury might come and he's like never like worked himself into form. It's like, what are you showing your team? And like, what habit are you building with this team? Like, surely you should want to have 20 games with KD against contenders that is like, fuck, how the fuck are we going to beat Harden and KD?
And they did that a few times last year. There were a few games where it's like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is going on? Like, I think it was a regular season game against the Celtics, and it was like, nobody is going to fucking beat these guys if they're actually playing together.
Yeah.
But yeah, show it, do it.
Yeah.
That would make you watchable. If Harden was playing well, they would actually be so watchable.
Yeah,
And
if actually, to be fair, if Kyrie was playing as well, we have a laugh.
Genuinely.
But if he was playing basketball games, they would be much more watchable.
Yeah.
And he's a fuckhead for not playing basketball.
Yeah.
For sure.
Say what you want about Kyrie, he's very watchable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be a turn it on in the playoff situations.
Yeah.
Patty Mills is a try hard,
Oh,
as in he tries hard.
that's bronze medalist
Bruce
Patrick
Brown,
Mills.
like,
Yeah, participation award.
yeah, but it's like, all right, we'll let these guys run around, and then when it comes to push comes to shove, whereas the Bucks want to play hard all the way through, and we would always like give them shit for it. They ended up winning a chip, but then
Yeah.
there's also the teams that didn't play well all the way through, turn it on at the end, and you win a title. So.
Yeah, good point. Speaking on the topic of digressing,
Pardon me.
I also just want to mention that Trae Young, scoring more points, has a better offensive record. Better offensive rating and a better record than Luka Doncic so far.
Oh, dude.
I love that.
Wow.
What picks were they picked in that draft?
3 and 5.
Which one was which?
Luka was 3, Trae was 5, and then
That's fucking
Marvin
trade.
Bagley was 2.
and like at some
DeAndre
point.
Ayton was 1.
At some point, we're gonna have to look at the Jaren Jackson pick. Like, I know it's just because of injuries for the
No,
most
it's
part.
not. You can't underperform for 4 years. You're just that good.
Yeah,
I
I fucking agree.
He's never been on the floor for longer than like 10 games.
No, he was healthy that second year.
Was that the second year when he
Second
was
year,
good?
he was like 17. He was like 17 and 6 because he's a terrible rebounder.
Yeah.
But he was banging in like 3 threes a game, like shooting 8 threes, like hitting like almost 40%. Like,
Yeah.
But now he's just.
Yeah.
I feel like they had
They're-
but they also hadn't drafted Ja yet, so they could have just got traded.
Could've.
That's
Yeah,
right.
they
Yeah.
could-
No. In hindsight, it's like
Yeah.
in hindsight, the Doncic thing is like just never going to be lived down.
So also, just to give you the particulars, Doncic was traded for Trae Young and Cam Reddish.
Yeah. What became Cam
what
Reddish.
became Cam Reddish.
That's kind of a fair trade.
Nah.
You don't reckon?
Nah.
You
Cam
still want
Reddish is
Doncic?
so fucking dog water.
Yeah.
No way.
Yes,
you guys
wait.
have this beef with
Yes,
this guy.
wait.
No, he
Nah,
does,
shit,
not
man.
me.
No,
He's a turd. I'm with
He's the next
Dante.
Tyler Hero.
I feel like Cam Reddish was the. I say this about so many fucking people now, but Cam Reddish was the original what number to this field goal percentage stuff.
Yeah.
He was actually probably the OG.
I think it was actually Jumping Joe Fulks back then.
Yeah.
Him and,
Dust off the incunabulum for that one.
The Hawks.
him and Bimbo Coles.
Yeah. The Hawks could be seriously hurt if he doesn't realise that no one wants him to dribble the ball, except the other team. The other
Yeah,
team
other
wants him to
team's
dribble
not.
the ball.
Speaking of, Carl Anthony Towns. Me and him both love it when he takes a mid-range.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Against our team.
Well, speaking of Carl Anthony Towns, I have Timberwolves as one of my 5 most
Same.
watchable. Just because, Cat's good, but Anthony Edwards has actually surprised me this year and is making some of the stupid shots he's taking.
I hate when Cat's on the court when I'm watching the Wolves. I hate when Torian Prince is on the court.
35 minutes.
But
Why is this watchable?
yeah, no, those other 13. But those other 8 guys, love them. Fucking adore them. Jaden McDaniels, Jared Vanderbilt.
I don't adore.
I'll go down the
McDaniels.
list.
Well, I don't also like D'Angelo Russell.
Say you love Pat Beverly, I do you?
Fucking love Pat.
Oh my god.
But 2 of the most watchable teams this year got D'Lo and Dinwiddie. The most watchable team from 3 years ago, the Brooklyn Nets. How about that, huh?
It's a real sliding doors moving on.
I'd fully disagree with the Timberwolves. I think there's too many players that I just smack my hand into my face.
Yeah. Double face.
namely D'Lo and Cat. And Cat's great. I'm not a Cat hater or anything like that, but he is one of those frustrating players when he's having a bad game. It's really difficult to watch.
It's fucking awesome today.
He's I feel like he's the center Russell Westbrook in the sense of if I have to watch him post up on the right wing and then sling a fucking cross court pass to the opposite corner and it doesn't even get past the paint, literally just gets picked off by the first guy. Just buzzes straight to the other guy. And then they often run and he doesn't run back. If I have to watch that one more time, I'm actually going to lose my mind.
He does a lot of Jokic impersonations.
But it never gets there.
Yeah,
That's why I
it's
say
just
Westbrook.
I saw this last week.
He does shit that you're like, what are you fucking doing?
There was a whole thing before last season. So I think it was a pre-COVID trope where it was we're going to get him on the elbow and we're going to get him passing. He's going to be our hub. He's going to be our Sabonis Jokic light. He's got the talent, and it's he's never passed a basketball in his life. At no point in his basketball career has he been a passer in any way. It's shoots threes, dunks the ball, defended in college, it doesn't defend in the NBA, and that's it. So it's what are we doing trying to make this guy a hub? Sabonis came in, he was a passer. Jokic came in, he was a passer.
He just doesn't need to be a passer. He's the best 3-point shooting big man apart from Valanciunas in the league. You don't need him. You don't need him to be dribbling the ball on the perimeter. You don't need him to be chucking up a dime. He's got enough offensive skills for that to be fine. Yeah. That's why he's frustrating. He is also, speaking of Valanciunas, one of the only centers to lose the Valanciunas matchup this year, which is it's a pretty dismal honour to have.
I'm happy to concede the
Timberwolves
pick.
You know that Top Gear thing where it's Jeremy Clarkson's oh no, anyway.
Yeah.
That was Cat's 35 points today.
Yeah.
Couldn't care less. He could have had 1,000 points. I wouldn't have cared. But every time fucking Ant missed a layup, I'm fucking shitting poo out of my butthole. But when I'm watching him play against another team, he's the most electric fucking guy. Yeah. Looking down into the ring. He has to put his hand over his eyes to see how far the ring is when he jumps. And when they catch it, when they're on a string, I think that's their ceiling is the most fun to watch. Because when they're on a string and they're running and shit, like against the Grizzlies, they were up 100 to 57 or something, and that was probably the most fun I've had watching a team play this year. That was amazing.
It's just, how far in between is when, and also when did I ask?
Holy shit. As Jeremy Clarkson once said, let's talk about the next team. I've got the Denver Nuggets.
Here we go.
This is actually the most rogue thing I've ever heard.
This is tough.
This is arguably more rogue than the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Easy.
Even before, I'll just jump in before you try.
Hey, everyone's done it.
Even before Porter Jr. hurt his back, he was still shit. So I don't know what's watchable about it apart from
Even before he hurt his back.
you know how he started the season shit and now he's hurt his back?
Yeah. I thought you meant last year, which would be incorrect.
Yes, correct.
Wait, does anyone else want to go?
Nikola Jokic won the JV matchup and is very, very, very good at basketball.
Hang the banner.
Also, I haven't seen Monty Morris miss a fucking basketball shot. He has never missed a shot.
Marco, can you look up Monty Morris's
It doesn't start with that.
It starts with a 1.
And ends in a 00.
Yeah.
It's just Jokic now. I love watching Jokic. Do you guys like watching Jokic?
This is the same thing as it's like, you know, the Grizzlies with Ja didn't make my...
Ja.
Man.
It's Demetrius, you
9:30,
idiot.
1 Negroni, 2 vanilla cakes.
Yeah, it is.
That'd be-
A bad attitude.
yeah. If the Grizz don't get on,
Yeah.
then the Nuggets
and I
don't
think
get
the
on.
Grizz roster, you know, we're taking injuries and health into account here, is better than the Nuggets roster.
Yeah.
And I think the Grizz roster is more fun because at least there's
Yeah.
someone like, you know,
Except for the center.
who's Lucas, who's the center?
Steven Adams.
That name is banned on this podcast.
Top 5 center in
The
the league.
Pelicans traded how many picks for Steven Adams? The Nuggets outside of Jokic, the Nuggets this season, it's Monty Morris, Aaron Gordon, the Greens, the Jay Greens, and then, you know, Bones is
Izzy
arguably
Bones.
the only fun player on the roster outside of Jokic. So I just think that it's absolutely
You know, like Will Barton?
befuddling.
Will Kevin Durant Barton?
Nah. Will Barton likes Will Barton.
Yeah, sure.
Will doesn't start with a 2 or a 3 button.
Me and Will.
Starts with a W, you stupid.
Are you calling me stupid?
Yeah, no, I'm happy to concede that, guys. Let that one go through the keeper. So we'll put them at 6 at the moment.
If we had to do a mock list right now, Suns Warriors.
Oh, we've got our 3 teams: Suns, Warriors, Wizards. That's on there.
Yeah, and then
I think I'd be happy to put the Bulls in there. Team we haven't spoken about yet, the Miami Heat.
Yeah, I have them.
I think they might be a lock, but
I don't really like watching them.
I fucking adore watching them.
I love their jerseys.
I hate their jerseys.
yeah, the city jersey.
Yeah, I
With
love
all the
all of them.
different
I
letters?
love all their jerseys.
Oh, man, no.
No, I don't like that. I would like that city jersey if the Miami wasn't awful. Like the one
That's
on the
the
front.
point.
No, that one's
This
awful.
is the one where
but I
it looks
don't.
like it's like a tap, kind of like a
It's-
almost
it's-
like fabric, like stitched together.
Yeah,
and they're
It's
all
like a
different
collage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got it from a Guns and Ammo magazine. I
I
like.
just took it from different billboards from the 60s.
I don't get that.
Watch Mad Men.
I've watched Mad Men and I don't get that.
That was the font they were. Anyway, wow.
But just for the record, they stole a
Yeah,
letter from
yeah,
every
yeah.
single one of their jerseys since the 80s.
60s, less said.
60s. Mad
How
Men.
many say Mad Men?
Mad Men show.
They came into the league in the 80s.
3 billboards out of Missouri, Epping.
Yeah, epic. Dude, I was playing Battlefield last night, and there's this dude called Box Hill Big W. He was on the squad.
Have you met Johnny? My man Johnny.
No.
best PSN name
Jizzy?
ever.
His PSN is GHB and Pip.
I don't get that.
What's a pip?
Pip.
Pib.
Like Pip.
There's a really big E on this episode. Right?
X.
That is actually really funny.
So the thing I like about the Miami jerseys is the everyone has like the customized numbers. I can live with that, but the collage I don't like. If they had made it like somehow integrated all into one style, then yeah, I would have liked them. But it looks cheap, and that is a finisher.
So why do you like them on the court?
Oh, I thought you'd never ask. Because man, they are stacked full of talent. They've got my favorite player in Jimmy Butler.
Oh, you know he sells coffee for $20 a cup?
Yeah, I'd pay that.
How is it? That's so watchable. I've watched that.
Did you guys ever play the coffee game in like year 8 business? Oh man,
Yeah, I know exactly what
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You start and you just put the sugar up. You put it to $10 a cup, and you always make the most of it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, brother.
And the lemonade version as well.
Yes. I'm
You
playing.
put the sugar up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, how many sugars do you have with your Fanta?
Is that one of your closes?
Yeah, it's been real. Peace.
I'm kind of over this Miami thing. I enjoy watching it.
Tied 6,
No,
right next team.
I like.
I think everyone looks better on Miami. Like, I actually am like, oh my god, Caleb Martin. He's like, I'm kind of excited for him to have the basketball.
you know his name, but you don't know the other one's name.
Yeah, fucking Cade or something. I don't know.
Cody.
You know it's a good one.
I know. What the fuck's funny, Marco?
Throw me a bone.
I'm also done like Lucas.
I, in my conscience, can't vote for a team with a Morris twin.
Oh hell yeah.
Oh,
Wait,
I
so,
love that.
But you
wait, so,
voted for the
so
Nuggets.
the Clippers are off of the...
Yeah.
the Morris is
What?
Moron.
Monty.
You're funny. Oh god, we have a laugh. Can't.
No, that's completely fair.
I think the Hornets are fun to watch.
Even
More fun.
even in a watchability
saying
sense
it's
though,
stupid.
like the Morris twins are watchable because they're agitators.
Oh, yeah. No, it does piss me
They've
off.
created one of the best moments we've had in the season so far.
Yeah.
No, that was the
Gary
Actually,
Payton's
they've created
third
two.
dunk.
There's only so many times you can watch one of the Morris deliberately put his foot under someone's legs and just not and get away with it, and then you're like, I don't want to keep watching this. It's like watching a crime being committed over and over again, and at some point you're kind of like, oh my god.
But how about that time Jimmy Butler mimicked him dribbling down the court?
Yeah. I hope he just gets bullied to all hell. Like,
Oh yeah,
I hope he's
100%.
not in the right mental state.
Who, Jimmy?
No, Markeith. Because every day it's like, you want a coffee? $21.
Yeah.
Because you missed that shot.
Yeah.
Also, he didn't play for 10 games after the Jokic hit.
It hasn't been 10 games.
It has.
No.
Because
Can you believe it's Christmas in 3 weeks?
Oh my god.
Okay,
Don't
December
think about
already.
It. Don't think
because
about
they
it.
said he had whiplash, and it's like, no, he's shit.
Yeah.
He's not in the rotation.
Yeah. Well, him and his brother have a shared bank account with $73 million in it.
Yeah.
Only-
72 from Marcus.
Yeah.
They also
And one
share.
from
They also share that with
Thomas Robinson.
Thomas Robinson. Yeah. Because they all
Who
grew
added
up. They
$0
all grew up
million.
together.
It really did. Nah, Thomas Robinson fucking highway robbery with the Kings.
Hell yeah, brother.
The Kings got absolutely fleeced in that day.
All right, rank them. Marvin Bagley, Jaren Jackson Jr., Thomas Robinson, Jason Thompson.
Jaren Jackson didn't
Why
play
is
for-
Jaron Jackson there?
Jaren Jackson Jr.
didn't play for the Kings.
Yeah, I know, but you still pick Marvin Bagley over.
Jaren, Jason Thompson,
Oh,
Bagley, Robinson.
Jason Thompson had a couple of years
No,
there.
Jason Thompson straight up isn't bad at basketball. Jokes aside,
like he's a backup power forward.
yeah, but like not
Yeah, but
bad,
he-
not,
yeah,
like, not bad at basketball.
Marvin Bagley doesn't know he's a backup power forward.
Yeah, exactly. Although to be fair, he's like won us our last 2 games. Oof.
All right. Well,
Talk about a closer.
let's put tied 6 for Miami, and then I'll say one more team, and then I don't know if you want to say another team,
Yeah,
but
I
you
thought
can.
it was going okay.
Oh, Mr. Four, Man Weave himself.
That was a bit eerie actually. You just looked at me really deeply when you said, whoa. I was gonna say, what do we think, and again I've outed myself as being unprepared, but what do we think about Utah?
No,
Not much.
no, not much.
0.
Well,
I haven't watched the Utah
Throw
game.
me a bone, Marco.
throw me a freaking
The
ball.
last person to throw you Utah bone, you know that.
All right, how many Utah games? Name their 3 best games this year.
Yeah. It would
Oh,
have.
you like the Utah Jazz?
It would have been the loss to the
Sean,
Pelicans.
this is when you can put the
Great game.
criticism.
Name your 3 favorite Mormons.
Joseph Smith.
Generally, it's
Name
generally
Jordan Clarkson.
Name
it's
your, name your favorite place to soak.
What? Name your favorite brand of soap. That was the worst closer I've ever made.
Favorite Mormon, Jabari Parker.
No shitting.
Yeah, genuinely.
fucking Taysom Hill from the Saints.
Really?
Yeah.
You know what?
Fucking-
That doesn't surprise
Zach
me.
Wilson from
Toby
the
Green.
Jets.
Well, he went to
Mormon.
BYU, so that's definitely.
That's where Taysom Hill went.
All right. So
You know
how
that
Jimmy
about?
Fredette.
Yeah, also a Mormon. Do you know
Yeah.
that 99.7% of BYU students are Mormon?
Wow.
Imagine being
0.3% of basketball players.
Oh, the university named after the founder of Beal.
It checks out.
We found the method.
The other 0.3 Jordan Clarkson.
Did you know that 99.7% of Latrobe Uni students own Adidas trackies?
It's over 2
I
on the last one.
was in the 0.3 then when I was there. That's crazy.
No. All right.
Factory truckers, surely.
My final team that I want to put in a bid for the 5th spot is the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah, I had them as well.
They're fun, and Evan Mobley's so much fun, and every now and again Jared Allen just does a dream shake and it works, and then Darius Garland is so much fun to watch. He's just so responsible with the ball, and like
Responsible
a
again.
lock for 2010, right? Guy Sebastian's album in 2010. He's just a lock for 2010 every night. Isaac Okoro, maybe he'll put it together at some point. Doesn't matter. Chetty Osman's just shooting good for the first time in his life, which is like, that's
He's
helpful.
actually shooting well.
He was saying it like Chetty Osman would say.
He full dresses like Tomasz Tadaransky, I reckon. But
What is it with the Euros, man?
idiot.
Idiots.
Yeah,
Oh,
freedom.
no, Italy won.
You see that Jorginho penalty?
Which one? Like, he keeps missing. So,
Fucking
go on,
hell.
go on.
If you want to say like Chicago, sorry, Sean, will you finish?
Yeah.
If you want to say Chicago play like the most like basketball brand of watchable basketball, it's like dunks, threes. Cleveland play like the least basketball brand of basketball. That's also
Yeah.
very watchable. They don't do anything that anyone else in the league does. And as someone who watches a lot of basketball, I appreciate that. You know, you don't see people utilize players like Evan Mobley, like they're utilizing Evan Mobley, and he's a rookie. And I think for that to be happening to him at the beginning of his career, like watch it and learn and see how he grows. That should be like that's enough to put them in my top 5.
Mobley is the hub that they wanted Cat to be. Off that elbow with people just like whizzing around.
Well,
I
yeah.
love an elbow big man.
Yeah, genuinely.
Oh.
If
Frank
Cat-
Kaminsky
if-
can't get back in the lineup.
If Cat was half of what Mobley was as that like elbow hub, oh my goodness.
But even just on defense, it's so much fun to watch on defense. He's like Anthony Davis, but he doesn't leave at the second quarter every single game. Like he's
He got
just
poked in the eye last week, ain't he?
yeah. He came back, but he had a non-COVID illness. And Spain's
Pink
favorite
eye.
son. That's funny. Spain's favorite son, Rick Rubio.
Yeah.
Rashad
Wow.
Rubio.
He's about to get so fucking paid this off
Do you
season.
reckon?
For sure.
Yeah, there's like
Dragic type deal?
Kings.
Oh, actually.
Hey, get rid of Dion.
Bloody the Pelicans.
Yeah, genuinely.
Get rid of Sato, give these $9 million. But he's going to get overpaid, and it's hopefully it's not on the Cavs. Actually, no, I don't like the Cavs, so hopefully it's on the Cavs. But it's fun to watch him play good. This is what.
Play well.
So he's holy
Oh, fucking cop
shit.
that dickhead. Cop that. Shove that fucking ass.
So this is the strangest like evolution of that 2013 Minnesota team where it was him and Kevin Love trying to make the playoffs, and this is it. They're trying to make
Wait,
the playoffs.
who and Kevin Love?
Rick Rubio.
Johnny Flynn.
Ricky Rubio.
Oh, in Minnesota. I was
Yeah.
like, when did he play for the Cavs in 2013?
And now they're doing it in 2021. How stupid's that? And they're probably going to do it this time, unlike last time.
Tell you what,
Yeah.
full
They
circle
might.
and certain things like that.
The reason they're going to do it this time is because Kevin Love isn't playing.
I actually had 20. He had 22 and 12 today.
Yeah, copy that. dickhead.
I don't know.
Wow, you don't say.
Caucus
Cavs-
rats.
Yeah, the Cavs should be in the top 10 unless, yeah, they look pretty good for, 1 through 10.
I do like the Cavs from a watchability point. I love the is Markkanen out?
No, he's came back.
Yeah, I love that starting lineup. 21 feet in the front court,
That's the one thing I don't like.
and then Darius Garland and Redacted in the backcourt.
Yeah,
I
and
think that's-
Sexton's
I think
out, so that makes him more watchable.
777 is what makes the 21 feet is what makes them watchable.
So good that it works as well.
I'm
Well-
just more shocked that it works, and then I'm
Works is a stretch.
No, it works because,
Mobley.
but who matches up? Like who matches up well with that?
Yeah.
And they obviously don't match up well sometimes,
Yeah.
most of the time.
Yeah, yeah.
But they're ready to not match up well.
Yeah.
The other teams aren't.
Like, Allen's good. Sorry, Allen's good. Mobley's good. Garland's good. Sexton's good.
Markkanen low-key just has to be average, which he is.
That's right. And so, like, sorry, Marco, what were you going to say?
Yeah, but I think if you had 2 Allens and 1 Markkanen, it wouldn't work. If you had 2 Markkanens and 1 Allen, it wouldn't work. It's like Evan Mobley being that kind of different 7-footer
Yeah.
who can actually play at the 3 big air quotes here. That makes it work.
But yeah, he can defend. He can defend on the perimeter.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
if
100%.
someone is getting stretched out, away from the rim, it's him,
Yeah.
and he can do that. Whereas that allows you to hopefully keep Markkanen closer to home, where he's not like defending on the perimeter.
Yeah.
Because that's dicey. And then obviously Jared Allen is like a sick rim protector.
Exactly.
So just
Yeah.
keep him.
When
keep
they
him down low.
when they play that zone with Mobley at the point, it's like, what the fuck is going on here? But,
Yeah.
but like, it's a really fucking concrete defense.
Tell you what, we actually, my basketball team in Perth, the Tony Allens, shout out. We actually pioneered that.
What's
We play a 3-2 zone. And we put our usual centre, Nate. We put him at the point of attack because he's just like long and gangly. He just gets his arms everywhere, and then we just be out and running on the fast break. So JB Bickerstaff literally scouted us.
When he was checking out the Fremantle doctor.
So, what are we going to settle on for that 5th spot?
So it's
So what have we
Wizards,
got?
Bulls, Suns, Warriors.
No.
Nah, wait.
Wizard, that's the
Warriors,
that's the four.
Suns, Wiz. is the
Denver.
top 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Timberwolves?
And then at 6th right now we have the Bulls, the Nets,
Nah.
Bulls,
Hornets?
Bulls,
the
Hornets.
Cats, the Cat,
the Bobcats, the Hornets.
Yeah.
the Hornets, and the Heat.
Okay.
There's like 4.
Was there someone
those-
else? I thought there was someone else who we put at a 7 behind.
Cavs.
Could have been the Wolves.
Yeah, that's what I said. The Cats.
I go Cavs over Wolves.
I go Hornets over all those other teams.
Yeah.
I go Bulls over all those other teams.
Me also that.
I don't go Bulls. Top
I
five.
want Bulls, Cavs. That would be my final 2 picks.
I want Cavs Charlotte.
I want Charlotte. I'm not too happy about any of those other teams.
I go Bulls Hornets.
I also go Bulls, Hornets.
We've got a Mount Rushmore.
Well, to me, it sounds like Bulls, Hornets. Like I've heard the most
It
yays
sounds like-
for Bulls and the most yays for Hornets.
Sounds like Bulls Hornets.
There's, yeah.
Stauskas?
Can you live with that, Lucas?
I can live with it. Obviously, it's freaking basketball.
Wow, that's actually my list plus the asterisk, so I'm feeling pretty good right now.
So
Especially,
not
especially
bad.
after the week.
okay, so it is Warriors, Suns,
Wizards.
Wizards, Bulls, Hornets.
Yeah.
Nah, Hornets, Bulls.
Should we do it?
Damn, bro. You haven't watched Alex Caruso play?
That's what I'm saying. I love watching them play defensively, but I love so much of what those other 4 teams do.
Yeah.
Should we do a little? Who are they playing next? You know, if you're listening to this podcast and you want to watch one of the 5 most watchable teams in basketball.
Oh, not bad.
Well,
Maybe do 2 days from now. Nice Carly's already gone to sleep.
Well, if you're listening to this on Saturday morning, you've actually got a Warriors Suns game coming in the afternoon, 2 p.m.
No, it's like it's Christmas.
fuck,
it's
I
like
have
it's
a
Christmas
wedding.
Day already.
Yeah.
Get a load of bloody D.
Oh, Christmas in December.
But before that, you can actually watch the Washington Wizards play our 6th team, the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Wow. This is literally just like a watchability rankings incest session. It's just like fucking.
I don't want to be part of an incest session, no matter what comes before it.
If you want to wait to the next day to watch some more basketball, on Sunday you can see the Chicago Bulls play the Brooklyn Nets. I think that will be quite a nice matchup indeed.
Call me Nigel because I'll be lapping that up.
Is that the other long word you were trying to get in?
That was just for Dante. Mainly, I should
I
say.
fucking literally, I can get around some fucking early 2000s Brisbane Lions content any day of the week.
I think if you name your kid Nigel Lappin, he's gonna have that nose.
And the Charlotte Hornets are playing the Atlanta Hawks on Monday at 10 a.m.
So if we were picking this pre-season, the Hawks would have been on the list.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Pre-season, that the Hawks were on
We
the
didn't,
list.
Well, yeah,
even,
kind of,
didn't
but-
even mention them.
Off,
Yeah, exactly.
Well, let's call it off the playoffs instead of preseason. Is this thing on?
What do you mean? Post-playoffs,
Yeah.
we would pick it.
Yeah, but like we were picking preseason, we would have been picking off of the playoffs.
Yes.
Yeah, that just makes it sound better. I think.
You're wrong.
I think the listener would have inferred.
That is needlessly pedantic.
The listeners would have inferred it. So, yeah.
If you're a listener, you can send us your response at PO Box 872 at Eltham South Post Office, and tell us whether that was inferred or not. We're in the weeds. Someone else.
You've been watching too much Mad as Hell.
Yeah.
That's Sean McCarthy joke.
that's
Shaw and Patrick. Mikhail.
Do you guys want to know what the student said after I called her out?
Oh, full circle.
Yeah, full circle. She was like, I was like, that's not a really nice thing to say. And she was
Fucking
like,
bitch.
no, I really like Shrek. Cool.
Fuck. And you've got a girlfriend.
Brutal. Yeah, I know. Alana agreed with her. I can't believe it.
Oh.
So it's kind of like if I was like, man, your team plays like the Oklahoma City Thunder. No, I really like it.
Yeah, exactly. Top 5 on my watchability. It's like, yeah, they're still shit. Anyway,
Well,
thanks for listening.
thanks for listening to the 4-Man Wave plus Marco. Just the regular socials, JVG.
Yeah, fucking JVG.
Yeah,
Big plug.
Our hats are coming soon.
Yeah, we should be getting visuals of them, in the next few days?
You said coming days production
Yeah,
should be over.
coming days.
Yeah.
So you can buy an NFT of it.
It's an NFT of me freaking painting or something.
And Marco wrote an article.
Oh, tell them about the article.
Yeah. If you haven't read it already, it's already been plugged on the Deep 2 before and the JVG NBA tribute show. But yes, I had my debut on thedeep2.com. It was a great honor to write for such a prestigious website. A blog, I think they call it these days. And it's just about what state the New Orleans Pelicans are in. And how
Louisiana.
How they're going to be... how and if they're going to be ready to receive Zion when he eventually returns. And I wrote it before we won, 3 or 4 games. So I think it still stands up, but Jonas Valanciunas...
The JV game. But the article was, as Lucas put it, the work of a true pensman. So
Oh, fucking Pens.
Thank you.
wonderful, wonderful stuff.
And if people are wondering what the expanded name of the podcast is, the JVG NBA Tribute Show stands for the Jonas Valanciunas Good Tribute Show. But
Bro, Jonas Valanciunas game.
no, Jonas Valanciunas Well Tribute Show.
Full circle.
Drinking from the JV well.
I think we should stop on that. That was fucking good.
That was,
Well,
that was a
yeah.
great close.
Should we not mention the Rockets 3-game winning streak on the back of Garrison Matthews?
Why'd you cut him, man? Was he a bad apple?
Talk about what you do.
No, he was a gun.
No. Was he one of Brad Beal's bad apples?
He could have well
What
been.
if he's just to see next
Do you
Tuesday?
think he was an all-out?
I think-
I think it's he could have good been.
Maybe you should end after Sean's thing.
Yeah, I'll make a note of it.